early teaching career, I saw how huge improvements could be achieved when changes were made to the way reading and writing was taught. It made me realize that methods of teaching could make all the difference between success and failure for many children. This understanding developed after two major alterations to our teaching, which took us from a look and say approach to a synthetic phonics one. There were 3 classes of 4 to 5-year-old children in our large primary school, and the amazing improvements were noticed by all the teachers. Later, these improvements were reflected on standardized reading tests. All the children were more successful, but best of all, most of the below-average children now moved into the average or above average ability. Joan Dorr, our head of department at the primary school where I was teaching, was curious to know why some children struggled and did not do well. Our school was as good as the other schools, in fact considerably better than some of them. Even so, virtually all the schools had at least 20% of the children struggling to read and spell well. Joan was aware that there was always a group of children who found it difficult to remember words by look and say. And in an effort to try and solve the problem, Joan also looked at the children further up in the school. She noticed that the good readers, when they came to a word that they had not read before, they worked it out by blending the sounds linked to the letters. But the poor readers didn't do that. These children tended to guess, look up for help, or just stop reading. Then she looked more closely at the poor readers and realized that their letter sound knowledge was very weak, especially the vowel digraphs. And this was when the first change in method took place. Instead of teaching the children to memorize whole words, the first 10 weeks were devoted to learning letter sounds and how to blend and write words that use those letter sounds. By the end of the year, we realized that the children were much further ahead than before. 2 years later, they were tested on a standardized reading test, which was administered to all the children in the county. The test used at that time was the Young's Reading Test. Our children had improved from an average quotient of 102.8 to 108.1, which is a highly significant improvement. It is usually quite difficult to improve by 1 quotient point, but to go up 6 points was remarkable.